welcome to you, and thanks for coming in.
Thank you so much for having me.
When we think in this country of Bergen-Belsen, there's a particular British attachment to that story in a sense, because you think of Auschwitz today, obviously we think of Auschwitz a lot today, which was liberated by the Red Army, but Bergen-Belsen was liberated by British soldiers, and famously, Richard Dimbleby, BBC journalist, took the cameras in and it was beamed back to the UK, or the footage was sent back to the UK, and it left a particular imprint on the British consciousness of what happened there.
I heard that story from childhood and was very moved by, when I went to visit Bergen-Belsen, that the British had kept such outstanding papers, and when I saw my mother's list on the list of survivors, it was quite moving. And I'm very grateful to have an opportunity to speak now in honor of the 75th anniversary as part of the Alfred Landecker Foundation, which is funded by the Ryman family. You know, they've committed €25 million a year to fund Holocaust education, partner with institutions, academic universities, to help move forward.
You're American, you're based out in Jerusalem. Why are you here in London today?
Well, I learned about the Alfred Landecker Foundation and was invited to speak tonight at Oxford for the inaugural speech of this foundation that will be supporting Holocaust education. And really, I just felt it was so in line with my mission in life to stop hatred. I myself went to Germany when I had an exhibition at in Berlin, in a gallery in Berlin, and the U.S. State Department asked me to be a cultural emissary, so to speak, and spent 3 weeks and close to a month in Germany visiting Dachau. My mother started at Dachau, and can you imagine, I was welcomed by the mayor of Dachau and the education centers, and everything I felt when I was asked to speak for the Alfred Landecker Foundation, I felt like, oh, this is what I've been trying to do. And they can do it on a grand educational, partnering with academic institutions. I just think what they're going to do is so phenomenal. It takes my work, which I believe in so far.
Can you just take a step back to those days immediately after 45, because you were born in 47?
I was born in 47.
At the displacement camp,
Right.
Because obviously when you've got so many people who did survive, and obviously many more perished, but it wasn't a case of suddenly, okay, we've liberated Bergen-Belsen and other concentration camps, life will return to normal. There was that period running for years of adjustment.
Well, I lived in Bergen-Belsen in a displaced persons camp for 3 years. And when we came to the States, my parents, a lot of the survivors, the ones that did survive, miraculously worked very hard, and they created new lives, new languages, new opportunities for themselves. And I grew up in a presence of absence. I never had grandparents. I never knew about family really very much, and yeah.
How much of a shadow did it cast on your early life? Or did your parents very much try to move on from it and distance it as a part of your life?
Well, I grew up, I think, with a very unusual situation for having both parents in Auschwitz. My mother couldn't be more different than my father in the emphasis. My mother wanted to keep the life of beautiful Europe before the war and the life she created after the war very much alive for her only daughter. My father was 19 in the camps. He was a barber. He had to shave heads, but my father had a number, and when you had a number in Auschwitz, you were accounted for. My mother did not have a number. My mother every day thought it was her last, and she survived because they gave her extra measure of soup because she had a blood type that they were experimenting on. But my mother, I never learned about that till my mother died. I didn't know that. My mother used to say, I have good blood. You know, I never knew what that meant. You know, I have a cold, don't worry, I have good blood.
Today is Holocaust Memorial Day. What do you say to those people who sometimes say that genocide is not unique to the Holocaust, but the numbers, the degree of industrialization, the way it was executed was unique, was it not?
Well, this ties in exactly why I'm here in London, because the Alfred Lendecker Foundation is doing just that. It's educating people towards a democracy, towards a freedom of fear, towards educating so that we're not filled with so much hatred and the minorities, and there's a greater respect, and we just need to move forward that way.
Indeed, we really appreciate you coming in today. Thanks so much for coming to talk to us. Thank you. And we're going to be much more coming up, particularly on coronavirus. We've got a correspondent in Beijing to explain the latest on that story.